All right, everybody, we're back. Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite. Eric Stambros. You know what, Ted? I'm going to stop introducing myself when we do this because we're just going to start talking because we've been doing this long enough that people know who we are. They know I'm in Canton. They know you're in Tulsa, unless we're in a different location. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to just stop. Nobody, they know. Listen to other podcasts I listen to. They just start talking. You obviously know who you're listening to, so
right.
But anyways, what's going on?
I just had a handler school finish, last one of the year. Finished up. What are we? December 12th or 13th today. It's been kind of a busy time because we've got, aside from having a lot of pets, because you know as well as I do that everyone had everybody over for Thanksgiving and they found out that their dogs are assholes, so everybody wants their pets trained. Same thing will happen right after Christmas.
Yep. January 2nd, the phones ran.
Yeah, it's same thing. So that, plus we had a bunch of dogs shipped in. We had 2 dogs stateside that were already here that we had to pick up. And I'm getting ready for the Monday. I turn right back around and start getting ready for our mid-February class. Getting all the dogs pre-trained and all that stuff turned up. We have 14 dual-purpose dogs now and a couple of singles that are ready to go. So we sold 7 or 8 of them during the handler school. So I'm showing dogs and running a handler school at the same time. So I'm glad. I had a good group of handlers this time, but I'm glad that they're off to go to go do dog handler things now. Back to Wisconsin, Oklahoma. We had some Arkansas departments here. So yeah, everybody's back and doing their own thing.
Did you have any help from Wisconsin this trip? Any decoy help?
We had Van Beek, who's been on the show. Jeremy Van Beek came down, and Jeremy was here. He didn't decoy while he was here. He's going to come down in February because we got 2 other guys coming back in February for a dual-purpose bomb, a dual-purpose dope dog, and Jeremy will be down for that too. But he had to leave. He had to do a certification thing or something. But yeah, Van Beek has been down from up in Green Bay.
Him. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he is. He's one of my favorite people. Faux show. What are you doing? I saw you had SWAT day today because it's indoor weather, because the toilets work and the heater works.
This episode is brought to you by KINETIC Dog Food, KINETICDogFood.com. Ted and I love it, man. It's such a really, really good high-performance dog food, but also their 24K formula. We use it for training. It is amazing. A nice big piece. No chicken in that particular formula. So if you get a new dog in from Europe, you don't know if he's allergic or not, don't worry about it. Check it out, KINETICDogFood.com.
Our friends out in North Carolina at Highland Canine Training run great green and finished dog programs, as well as an online and in-person police supervisor course. Hit them up at highlandcaninetraining.com. That's letter K number 9, highlandcanine.com. 30% off the discount code WDR30.
This episode also brought to you by Horizon Structures, horizonstructures.com. They will custom build you a kennel, drop it off, hook it up to your water and electric, and have that thing running with dogs in it the same day. They can custom build one. They got some already pre-built. Check them out on their website, horizonstructures.com. Anything you need from mild to wild, they're there.
One of the longtime supporters of the show has been Ray Allen Canine in Colorado Springs, Colorado. They've been around forever. RayAllen.com, where you can buy literally everything but the handler of the dog and the patrol vehicle. Everything else you can get from them. Hit them up, WDR10RAY for 10% off your order. That's WDR, the numbers 10RAY.
One of our longest sponsors is DOGTRA, DOGTRA Official, DOGTRA.com. We love DOGTRA. Their products are so good. Their e-collars, their ball poppers. Ted uses all kinds of different things at his place, from pet dog e-collars to working dog e-collars. He loves the hands-free 1900S. They've come out with some new models lately and an amazing new bark collar called the Smart Bark Collar. Check them out. Dogtra.com, WDR10 for 10% off a single item over $200. Dogtra.com.
Somebody that's been with us since the beginning is Arnaud out in Vegas at ALM Canine Equipment. If you follow me on social media, you see me wearing my ALM suits all the time. It's all I wear. I've got several of them. Eric's got several of them. We love Arnaud. We love ALM, custom made in Vegas. WDR or WD Radio for 10% off. That's WD Radio for 10% off. ALM Canine Equipment. That's letter K, number 9. ALMCanineEquipment.com.
So yesterday, they trained Thursday, Friday. Yesterday they were at their outdoor range, and it's fucking brutal here right now. And I saw them this morning. They came in. I'm like, you guys are happy, aren't you? Because they're like, fuck, yesterday was tough. And they have a little building out at the range now that they can go hang out in. It's got heat, but I was told the heat wasn't working right. And so I got a little dog in here with me, and I got to make her lay back down. So I'm just tapping the e-collar on her till she lays down. There you go, bitch. Anyways, so just on the pet side, we're the same. Like Saturday, it was real unfortunate. My training manager or sales manager, her dog was sick, took her to the vet, riddled with cancer, 3 years old. Really a bummer, man.
Oh, what kind of dog was it?
Shepherd, a great dog. So R.I.P. Burrito. Burrito's a great dog. She was the office dog. Like she brought her with her every day to work. Burrito was cool, but poor Burrito had like allergic to everything. It took forever for her owner to figure out a diet that didn't turn her stomach and belly and skin red, and took a long time. Well, she was just ate up. But anyway, so she dropped off the work phone, for the sales for the pet side. Damn, was that thing busy. I booked, I think 4 or 5 dogs Saturday and Sunday, and then 5 more during the week. And she came back today, and I think we booked 3 or 4 more. Super busy. December's usually slow. So, but I will say, I don't know, this is coming out next week, I think. I'm selling the Ridgeside Canine, Ohio location, the pet side business, to CJ, who's been on the show. One of my guys. He's going to take ownership. He'll be 36 here in a couple days. He's got 20 years in him to work this. I just realized, dude, that I am happier with a leash in my hand, training dogs, than running a business with employees and all the issues that go along with that. And so it's time. It's time for him to carry it through. He's got a lot of good ideas that should really do well for him. I still have 10% of the company, so I'll still be around, and I'm just going to train dogs for him. So I'll do a couple seminars a month, and then 1 or 2 board and trains. And one thing I never did before that I'm starting to do now is I have a couple private clients my buddy Travis sent my way. They got 3 of them. They got dogs that already are on bite work, and they just want to, I'm just refining it, getting it better. These are private folks. The one I talked about on here, the dog Reaper, that dog was gangster. That dog's so nice, so good. I want to put tracking on that dog too, just to have fun with him. But the other 2 are like, one's a personal protection dog, and the other one is just the girl has a lot of fun with the dog, wants to do different things. I was just here a little bit ago, actually, and it's fun. I never did it. I never really was interested in it, but today I put the suit on a couple times, did a whole bunch of bite work with dogs, did a little bit of detection with the dog. But yeah, man, I'll be available to do more seminars and travel, and we're going to do some stuff with Ridgeside Canine headquarters that I'm going to talk about here in a little while. Not a while in this episode, but in the future, about some growth stuff we're going to work on. But I do want to show this. It's not the best angle, it's a freaking camera, but so this is a book. It's a kid's book. It's been sitting on my table here. Is this looking backwards? Do you see this? Best is backwards, right?
No, so I can see it.
You can see it? Okay.
Written and illustrated by Jennifer Stokes, a hero.
Friend Jennifer. She's a search and rescue handler. She has a cadaver dog that does water, and that's who this dog is about. The water it's crazy to watch that work. She has a live fine dog, and she has a electronic dog that just did some work for a task force and had some success. So they trained here the other day, and she left this book here with a nice little note in it. And it's really cool. She did this herself, illustrated, wrote it, illustrated it, had it made. She didn't publish it through Amazon like I do with my book. Had it made. It's a cool little thing. I think she used AI for all of it, which is, now unless I'm looking for something local, Google can eat a dick. I'm not using Google at all for searching any information. It's all ChatGPT or Grok for me. All kinds of stuff, like just for ideas for business models and different things. You just use AI. I'm not using Google for any of that shit anymore, especially because the Google computer people fuck with the answers and fuck with the algorithm. It's been proven that they do some really super left-wing bullshit with it, and I'm not about it. So I just wanted to show her a little book. If you find her like on my friends list, she has these books, and she does like packages for kids. Like she'll set out, especially for kids that are having trauma and some problems, because she used to work in that industry. But it's a cool little book. I'm happy that it worked out for her, that she gave me a copy of it. But that dog, her dog Baloo, he gets on that boat, and when they have a missing person, and he's like sniffing in the water for that dead person smell. And she just did a thing not too long ago where they found somebody just based off, just narrowed it down, narrow, boom, check this spot. But the guy was there. I was like, God damn. So that was pretty cool.
All right, this episode is brought to you in part by KINETIC Dog Food, kineticdogfood.com. We've been using KINETIC for quite a while at the kennel here at Torchlight. We feed the 26 and the 28K formula in feeding for the dogs all over there, but I also use the 24K for all of my imprinting for obedience and imprinting for tracking. If you follow me, you've seen me do the tracking stuff where I do the Dick Stahl method, who we've also had on the show. But it's great because it's large and it doesn't get greasy and gross in the pouch. I've seen a lot of dudes with drop pouches that look like they're carrying dirty socks around, and it's disgusting. This doesn't do that. It's not greasy. Also, it's not a chicken-based formula, so if you get dogs in from Europe, you're not sure if the stomach is going to handle it. And it's a fairly low-calorie version too, so you can do 1,000,000 reps and not have to worry about dog getting fat. kineticdogfood.com. Also, we've had the guys on the show before, and they talk about it, but they do a lot to make sure that the protein bases are nice and pure, and that the stuff that they're adding to it actually adds additive to it, and they're not filling it with pocket lint and sawdust like a lot of other foods. So hit them up, kineticdogfood.com. Yeah. So speaking of some other stuff, one of the original Breaker Bar things from Serious Canine, Todd Pavlis, who we need to actually have him on the show. We've talked about it, and I don't remember. He was on like vacation one time, and I don't remember what the fuck happened, but he just released that version 2, and I got one of the Breaker Bar, and it's refined. It looks like they replaced the pivot where the metal part pops in. They reshaped the handle, and the pivot looks different. Like it's super like stout. So you can get them at Ray Allen or on his website for sure. But they're
should have to check it out.
Yeah, and he's got different colors now too. Yeah, I do too. And I mean, it was the kind of like the original. I mean, I know Laz was selling the paperclip ones forever, or still sells the titanium paperclip ones. And I don't know that I've seen some other ones that were like plastic or whatever, but this is the one that like I think most people use. Yeah. But so anyway, he made a new one version.
Well, I think I told you in Ohio, we're changing that certification, and in the building search now, the way we're changing it is they can alert at the door. That's fine. They can bark and alert at the door, but there has to be a bite. So they got to pop the door or whatever. And then you have to physically remove the dog. You have to show that you can physically remove the dog. There is a verbal out in the bite work session, but in the building search, there's a bite and you have to physically remove the dog. And you can use lift off, choke off, break stick, whatever, that Breaker Bar, whatever it is that you use. You have to physically remove the dog. If you have a dog with solid verbal out, if that ain't it, you got to go show that you can remove that dog, because that's where guys are getting in trouble. There's videos of guys going, I can't get him off. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
and it wasn't too long ago. I mean, I remember.
Shut up.
Yeah, exactly. I remember 4 years ago-ish, like right around when COVID was ending, I remember seeing some bites come through from, I think it was Mountain State or Western State, where people within the industry were claiming that if you were using a Breaker Bar, that you are going to be sued because you're not demonstrating control. And then all these other cases fell out where people were talking about Kerr versus West Palm Beach and how e-collars are covered under it and leashes and all these other things. And then it became kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I don't know, here we sit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And
I think most guys use them now or have them. I don't know how much they train with them, but so yeah, I'm glad. I have to check it out. I have to check out the new version. So we don't have a guest tonight. It's just you and me. We do these every once in a while. We do training. A lot of times we pick a couple topics. Like I'll pick one, you pick one. We kind of banter back and forth on it, but we're just going to kind of stick with one topic tonight. And it's based off of the work I did with that private client tonight. But it's about bite building and things like that, and new dogs, green dogs, what we like to see, what we don't like to see, what other vendors or some of the stuff in Europe, what they're doing. But yeah, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, so we've gotten, I just had a dog finish class, not this class, but a class recently, where when he actually came to us with no foundation and bite work. So we did all of it. Now, genetically, the dog had a beautiful biting behavior. He was firm, he's full, he's calm. Like those are the three things that we want to teach, that we want the dogs to do. So really, it was just teaching him where to bite. I've had a lot of dogs come in. In fact, this last set that I just got in from Europe, I have one dog that genetically is full and he's calm, but he doesn't bite very hard. And then another one also doesn't bite very hard, but he's a tiny, he's a baby. He's, I think he actually, what is today? He just turned a year old yesterday. So I mean, but for his age, he bites really, really nicely and bites very, very hard. So I have another dog that came from somewhere else that had a foundation, I'm pretty sure, in some sport work. And I think it was some kind of IPO, IGP type sport work, because the dog has piles of drive and will 100% bite. But if it's not shaped like a triangle, he can't hang on to it and won't hang on to it. Now I know that that's a learned behavior or whatever else, but because it's interesting, like when I select dogs or when we like kind of test dogs or whatever, it's one of the things that I check is to see how well they bite and how they bite in terms of bite pressure. And then we also test them on unconventional surfaces. And green dogs, I'll test with the Decoy Armor Pro or those leather gauntlets, like right then on a bite table. They should, depending on age, but should take that and bite it, or at least try and be like, oh, this kind of feels funky, which is something that we can work through. I tested another dog that's going to be coming through. Now, mind you, this dog has been sold by a vendor, has been working on the street as a dual-purpose dog, fuck ton of drive, great dope work was done, and dog will bite kind of hard. This is like a 4-year-old Malinois, and would not engage hidden equipment. It was just the oddest. It wasn't odd, but it was just one of those deals where the dog contextually didn't understand the difference nor how to adapt and how to do it. So, and it's not something that blinding prey can just take over for. And the dog, was another one of these dogs that when we did the testing, the spooky dog, probably one of the best reactions I've seen in a decade. Dog almost came out of his skin to try and get to me, and I'm talking at 60 yards away. It was full on defensive bark on his hind legs, looking me dead in the eye, or where my eyes should be anyway. And it was a pretty powerful experience, because a lot of times you'll have him kind of boof and be like, yeah, whatever. And then, but of course he's a Malinois, and it's, he wants to fucking destroy everybody and everything. But yeah, so I think we just kind of want to talk about, because one of the things that we hear or that we get asked about a lot is how do you select dogs? And I've seen it fairly recently too on some, I don't even remember. I think it was on Instagram. I think it was on one of Rigney's posts, and somebody was making a comment about how we select dogs or how we shouldn't select dogs or whatever else. I've seen quite a few comments come through about another social media. I've been forwarded some things that people want my input on about a dog that has an issue with drive during bite work. And I'm like, that's a selection problem. It's not something you can really fix. If a dog is either there, he's not going to do it. Another thing that I can kind of point out here too is when we have these behaviors, you have a dog that bites firm, you have a dog that bites full, and he's calm when he does it, and then all of a sudden they don't. And we can rule out decoy problems. We had a dog go through my last school that ended up, I had to replace a tooth, and dog is in complete avoidance even after going back to the dentist. And we have one of the best dog dentists in the country from what I can tell, and what I've been told by third parties, and no problem. But now the dog won't even take his reward toy on that side. He chooses food on that side. So, yeah, I'm warranting
singular learning event for that dog.
I'm warranting. Yep, I'm warranting the dog. Handler told me the other day that he's now having to wet his food, and it just sucks. So I'm kind of like at a crossroads. Do I still continue to work this dog as a single purpose? And if he's in pain, I have like an ethical problem with that. And so I don't know. I guess next time we record, I'll let you know what happened. But for right now, he's going to work until we replace the dog, which will be February or March. So.
And that's something real quick that, on a side note, that we talked about in an episode a long time ago. When guys come out of military or they're law enforcement or whatever, then they want to start a dog training company for police dogs. That you think you're going to come out and start this company, everything's going to be good. You are not. And when you replace your small company and you have to replace that one dog like that, you might be bankrupt. Like enough. You're living on the edge so much, or maybe you had some money from bonuses and things on the military, but you ate up buying the dogs and then replacing the dogs. You're not going to resell it. So it's something for people to think about. One return dog can throw you behind where you'll never catch up. So just something to think about.
I will say that we changed insurance companies. We used Kennel Pro, and I can't remember who we're using now, but we full on claimed the replacement on our insurance, and they not necessarily no questions asked, but they wrote us a check for the price of the dog.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I never did that. I had to replace one or two, but I never. I had insurance too. I never did that. Kennel Pro. A lot of people have left Kennel Pro.
Yeah, we did. A lot of people. We did because we had a claim, and then our premiums went from we had a legit claim too that we ended up having to almost sue them to get paid. Mm-hmm. And then they paid it, and then our premium went to like $1,500 a month or something stupid. Yeah. So, we
a lot of people left Kennel Pro because it was either too basic or too expensive.
Yeah.
Anyways, whatever. Some people use it and like it. So, probably one of my favorite companies to deal with in this industry is Ray Allen Canine. What I really love about Ray Allen Canine is I need one website. I don't got to bounce around to a bunch of different places. I go to rayallen.com. And everything I need, because remember, guys, I have a pet dog training business, same with Ted, and we do police dogs. I'm a pet dog owner. Anything I need dog related. It's not just working dogs stuff. It's dog stuff. Anything I need, Ray Allen has. Rayallen.com has everything you need, from leashes, harnesses, bowls, anything you could possibly do. And here's the cool thing. They're always innovating some really cool stuff. If you follow them on their social media, you'll see Matt on there demoing a bunch of cool stuff they have. They're out in Colorado, got an amazing facility out there. One-stop shop, nowhere else to go and look. Rayallen.com. Use the discount code WDR10RAY for 10% off. WDR10RAY for 10% off at rayallen.com. So yeah, and one of the things, the reason why this topic has come up is, so this dog that I was one of the protection dogs I was working today, she it's a female Mal Shepherd mix. She I got her today, her first bite on the suit. Bites hard, like the way her mouth isn't anatomically made in my arm, the way my arm, whatever, she pinches me, which sucks. That's just one of those things. Somebody else it might not, but for me it does. But full mouth, doing well with it. But what happened was, the first time I saw this dog, which was 2 weeks ago, I can't remember. She does a little bit of odor work, right? So we came in to do that. I wanted to see kind of where that was at. And that dog was so reactive, and we couldn't barely work boxes or anything. I definitely couldn't be up next to her trying to, work the box and help her out, because she was trying to bite me. And all defense, right? Reactivity and defense. And then we put her up on the table for the bite work because I wanted to see where that was at, and just going ape shit in defense on that table. So it turns out the people she was going to before, that's how they started that dog, was all on high pressure, cracking whips, doing this and that to bring out that defense. And I'm like, that is not how you start a dog and build a dog. Police dog defense is not. Police dog. If you have a kennel, say, for example, and you think that's what police dogs are, is all defense, out the end of the leash looking scary, you will never sell a dog that's worth shit. You will never sell, you'll get your dogs returned because they will bite and let go, bite and let go. All weird defensive stuff. We had a guy that I used to work with who, at the police department, was a fucking goof. He, still a fucking goof. He had a kennel going for a little while, and that's what he thought police dogs were. He posted up. He posts up. He never sold a single one of them. They're all trash. His whole fucking kennel, everything he did was trash, because that's just bullshit barking at the end of the leash. That is not how you teach biting and building up that bite work, right? You got to build, I'm not saying don't work the dog in defense, but it has to be a prey movement. It has to be prey drive that builds that in there. So what I'm working with this dog now is being quiet. So if I'll just wait. She gets quiet. She gets to bite. She'll lay down, quiet, bite. And then I'll channel her back and forth a little bit while we're building that. But that whole have them post up and, I guarantee I did that back in the day too. But
and
now I have to fix it. But now we did boxes after bite work, and she didn't try to bite me. She focused on the work.
People are going to hear this and be like, oh, they said you don't have to use defense, and that's not what you're saying. And I'm 100% on board. So, and this debate has been going on for longer than I've ever been involved in any of this, about the difference between prey and defense and what they look like and what it's not look like. There used to be a guy on one of the social media platforms, I can't remember he was some goofy ass dude that always was like, play name the drive and what drive the dog was in working. And it was this fucking, I don't remember what, it doesn't matter. But what it comes down to, and I like to try and make things as simple as possible for canine handlers and for some of our personal protection clients, right? So dogs bite people for 2 reasons and 2 reasons only. I don't care. You can listen to fucking Armin talk about the 9 million fucking drives that dogs have. And for somebody that supposedly is college educated, he didn't know fucking shit. That falls into 2 categories. It falls into they either need to or they want to. That's it. Pick me a time when a dog engages a human being, whether it's a police dog or not, and it falls into one of those 2 categories. They either need to or they want to. Those can be kind of filtered out into prey or defense, right? Prey is they need to. And people shit on prey a lot, but I mean, you got to remember it's the only drive that exists solely to kill shit. So there's that. And then defense at its core is fear. And when I say it that way, a lot of guys kind of bristle. Like they're kind of like, oh, no, he's not scared. I'm like, it doesn't mean that he's a bad dog. I mean, it doesn't. And it doesn't necessarily have to be fear like I'm going to hurt him. It can be fear of losing a resource, fear of losing food, fear of losing a sexual mate, fear of losing status within like in the social ranking within a pack or with the handler, fear of something. And there's 3 responses to that. They either bounce and run, which nobody wants. They either freeze, which, is kind of the in-between, or they choose to fucking kill it or fight it. That's typically what we want. When we were talking about Spooky Man earlier, like that's typically kind of how we assess what that threshold is and how those dogs deal with that type of pressure without it being so confrontational that I have to throw hands on them to do it. So that being said, when we filter it down into 2 categories, they need to or they want to. At the end of the day, MPCs, MWDs, and PSDs are the only jobs in the world where a dog is actively hunting a human being that is attempting to evade them. It should not be a defensive proposition. So the dogs are actively tracking or whatever we're doing, run around a building or whatever, and they're actively hunting a human being that is trying to evade them. That is not a defensive proposition. There isn't a dog on this planet that does detection work, no matter what they're detecting, that thinks at the end when they alert that they're going to get in a fight. That's just not how it works. Mm-hmm. So you'll hear a lot of people talk about prey and defense, and we do need defense 1,000%. 100%. Is it the foundation? No. For detection work, there are very few detection dogs working in the world that don't have a shit ton of prey. They have to. Now, prey manifests itself in multiple versions, and not all prey is created equal, right? Like if that was the case, we'd be running greyhounds as fucking detection dogs, and nobody does. So, because those and the fucking sight hounds, as far as prey goes, are off the charts. Same thing with, certain types of game bred pit bulls or big fathead dogs that have a shit ton of prey. So not all prey is created equal. So some of that is just manipulated by breeding and through successive through generations and generations, which is fine. But at its core, it comes down to they need to or they want to. And what it amounts to is we have to have dogs that genuinely want to be there. And that is prey. Now, once we get to making contact and we have people that fight back, and that's what keeps them there and make sure that they win. And one of your phrases that everybody loves is forward aggression solves problems. And that's how the best description when I teach decoy camps for police officers, I say, this is how we teach that to dogs. And what that looks like is forward pressure, correct biting, correct bite pressure, all these other things stops unwanted behaviors from happening. Some of that also, most of that is a learned behavior in terms of that forward aggression solves problems. I mean, it's genetically there. Case in point, probably listening to this that's ever imported a dog from Europe. I don't know what it is with the Europeans. They have a fucking foot fetish is the only thing I can assess. Because damn near every dog that comes over that has had table work done doesn't want you to touch their fucking feet.
Yeah, this dog too that I just did.
Well, it's because they whip the shit out of them.
But this one is not an import, but still, dude, she does not.
Well,
that's going to be a buildup.
And it's the thing, right? Now, I have a dog right now that during apprehension work or when he's biting, if you touch his foot when he's biting, he comes unfucking glued. However, during article work, like starting article work, I'm kind of like luring him into position. He's trying to fucking shake.
Oh, right.
And I'm like, seriously, you want me to shake your hand? You want me to let you put your paw in my hand after you just tried to kill me 20 minutes ago for doing the same thing? No, we ain't doing that. Which that alone should tell you that it's a highly contextual thing. The dog, and he'll let me cut his toenails. He didn't care. Just during bite work, because somebody that raised him had a fucking foot fetish, like wanted to whip his feet and everything else while he's biting to show, oh, he's tough. He can handle pressure or whatever else. So
or he won't touch you.
Or that too. So it's always interesting to see. Yeah, exactly. They do the monorail cat thing where they suck their feet up and do that whole deal. And now Hype came up to see me. So by and large, we start every dog in prey, and I'm unabashed about it. If you've had a dog, and I know you've had dogs like this, I have too, come through that are true prey monsters that have no defensive threshold, or the defensive threshold is so high that it's very difficult to scare those dogs with decoy pressure. I mean, you can pick them up and throw them through the wall and do all kinds of crazy shit. Throw them through drywall, punch them in the face, like whatever you want to do. Cause pain but not permanent damage, nothing, right? So I got told recently that dogs like that are unreliable because they need a fight to stay. And I'm like, they don't need they'll bite a goddamn traffic cone if I tell them to. Like, that doesn't matter. And those dogs will stay there. The ones that get sketchy are the dogs that have a foundation like you were describing. And they feel like it's almost like a very choreographed, communication between the decoy and the dog, where the dog clearly doesn't have the mental capacity or the confidence to deal with that amount of pressure. The decoy tends to layer it on anyway, and they're thinking they're telling the dog to turn the pressure off by biting. The problem is once the pressure stops, then the need to bite stops. The desire wasn't there in the first place, and you've created a leash reactive fear biter that only wants to bite to save itself from pressure, not because it genuinely wants to be there. And those look very, very, very different from the suit end, and they feel very different in the suit as well. When you have a big ass fucking KMPV Malinois that wants to be there and hurt people, you can feel it. Versus the dog that's like, as soon as you stop messing with me, I'm out. It feels way different. All right, our next sponsor is really good for the business side of this. If you're in the business of breeding or raising police dogs, or even just regular dogs, pets, or gun dogs, or whatever, one of the biggest hassles that we have to deal with is housing. Making sure it's safe, making sure it's high quality, all these things. Make sure it's sterile, it's easy to clean, we can feed. If not, it just creates an infinitely higher workload. On top of that, it's expensive. one of our sponsors from Horizon Structures. They do a great job at making a plug and play drop ready to go as soon as it hits the deck in your location. You have a gravel pad, hook it up to electricity and water. You can put dogs in it that afternoon, and all the guesswork is taken out of it. It's ready to go as soon as it gets there, and you can go from mild to wild. I've seen some that have stainless steel on the inside. It looks like an operating room. It comes with its own air conditioner, all the way down to just like a basic one you need to put in the backyard to satisfy your policy requirements. If you're a canine handler out in the back for a 10x10, he's got an indoor outdoor. He's got a little outdoor thing that's elevated, so he doesn't have to stand in any of his waste, and it's easy to clean. So everything from all the way from a single dog all the way up to, I think they do like, what do they do, Eric? Like they do like 16 and 18 like large sizes. So hit them up, horizonstructures.com. And they will get you set up quickly.
For sure. And like, so now I'm just trying to build this dog back up and to where she wants to be there. Right. And you can see there's conflict there. Like she wants to be there, but oh my God, he turned towards me. Like I got her on a bicep today. I just wanted to see if that was too much social pressure for her right there. And it wasn't, I mean, she farted as soon as I put her on the bicep. Like
checks out.
There was a little bit there, and I didn't hover over. I just kind of kept it open. But I'm going to I'm just going to do it off of prey. Now, again, too much prey isn't ideal either. Like I talked about Drago, the dog that is on the cover of my book. And my crowning achievement is fixing him his verbal out when he was 8 fucking years old. But he's too much prey. And, so like there's things I don't like about it, but building a foundation of a police dog that's supposed to be doing bite work, that wants to chase a guy down and bite it, from building it up by fucking cracking those whips and fucking with him in defense and doing all this other stuff from the beginning before you've even really built a nice grip and a nice punch and whatever, is a gigantic mistake. You really, really put yourself backwards. I know on a lot of Malinois you do have to build some defense, and Shepherds come with a lot of defense, and you got to be careful how much you do with that. But talk about where you find the value in defense at.
Value in defense for me on the training side is pretty clear. The bite pressure changes. The dog's body language changes. They tend to either be more or less vocal depending on what their baseline is. So it's easy for me or, any experienced decoy to read when I'm pushing past that threshold. So it definitely makes channeling easier. And it makes the prey side much more predictable. So I understand how to get them to induce hunt. I understand how to induce prey and induce a bite. I also understand how to induce channeling when there's when the dog has to have experience doing that too. They can't just go red and then never go back. Like they've got to go back and forth between prey and defense, and it has to be able to be done seamlessly. And that kind of starts with some foundation and some genetics. A lot of times we hear, and we've heard it forever because it was written in some book by I don't remember which book it was. It's one of the ones that everybody reads. I read it. I'll remember the name of it off the top of my head. I can't remember off the top of my head, but we have to prey build. We have to prey build. We have to prey build. Some of these Malinois and Dutch Shepherds, modern ones, have enough fucking drive for 3 police dogs. They do not need any fucking more. And that's the thing. Like when I watch police departments select dogs, it's always interesting when I watch. I'm like, I know what I look for. I'm like, I just want to see what you're looking for. And I watch guys test prey, right? And spray. And then they'll test a little bit of defense, age appropriate to the dog, of course. And, I'll see dogs that have fuck ton of drive and plenty for a police dog. And they're like, we need more drive. I'm like, man, do you though? Like, how much more do you want? Like, how much more do you fucking need? And there is downsides to excessive prey. You have dogs that are vocal. You have dogs that break commands or that break downs and break sits and break all this other shit, break people. Dogs that typically bite handlers. A lot of them are like prey junkies that they get used to expressing prey, and they go from 0 to 100 as soon as you say police with a dog, make yourself known, and they come unfucking glued. They're already pinned, the rev limiter's hitting, and it and it's a learned behavior. So we already have a genetic predisposition for that type of behavior, and then we magnify it and we magnify it and we magnify it, and then we mark it and mark it and mark it and mark it for years. And now we don't understand why we can't cap the dog, and the dog can't hunt, the dog can't perform a bite, and then out, and then have to go back to hunting. Dog can't do skills transitions. I mean, it's just like a management nightmare. And early on, if you're listening to this and you're a training green dogs or selecting green dogs, and you see dogs like that have that propensity, by all means, select them without a doubt. Because they'll be super easy to fucking train and they will bite people, but you don't have to do all of the goofy wonky shit where you're just going over the top all the fucking time, over and over and over and over again. And it just gets to the point where we have way too much intensity in everything related to prey. Their tracking suffers because it's so frantic. The searching for narcotics or explosive, well, hopefully not a bomb dog. That would be a horrible choice for a bomb dog. But for narcotics or whatever, the dogs, gas out within a couple of minutes. They're just so fucking frantic all the damn time. And a lot of people are like, yeah, I want that. I'm like, yeah, you don't want that. So I have 2 dogs right now that 100% could be that way. And they've been selected for a department. So they won't be, because they bite well already. They will not be biting for about 6 weeks. Yeah. So they will be finding drugs and learning to track and learning to do building searches and do all the obedience and all that other shit before we decide to let them bite again. So I tested all of their targeting. I tested all of their biting behaviors to check off the 3 boxes: firm, full, and calm on all target areas. It's all there. So I don't need to do a shit ton of any of that work. I have some that are a little soft mouth. They'll need some work. I have some that aren't quite full. They'll need another set of protocols. And I have some that are kind of pullers. I have a dog that I call a floater. He's not a puller or a pusher. He just it's a German Shepherd, naturally. He just kind of bites hard and just stays. So he'll have to be taught how to push and how to counter. And those dogs are super easy to get them to learn. Like, all you do a tiny bit of defense and they push, and done deal. And then we just move the flag down the field successively over time. So that's kind of the issue. I think guys kind of want to, because I will be honest, it is super easy to get those dogs to do things. Conversely, it's difficult to stop them doing things because the behavior becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, unfortunately. And it leads to all kinds of other behaviors, like tearing the shit out of the inside of patrol cars and fucking up computers and whatever else, and tearing shit up and tearing themselves up and chasing water and pulling kennel pieces apart and all kinds of dumb shit.
But then not barking at the door.
Also that, that is a learned behavior as well. I've talked about that before.
It's so frustrating
I think I talked about that when we had Todd Mona on. Yeah. And I talked about how that protocol that we do, where I don't allow them to bark and I teach building searches as a hunting behavior and not a biting behavior, which I have dogs that are super vocal and they're dead silent during building searches. I can't recall the last time I had one of our dogs that was actively super vocal during bite work or during building searches because of loading, because of how we train it now. So
well, I mean, the dogs that you put over the top prey all the time.
Oh,
prey, where you can't get them to bark at the door.
Then to
alert. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That prey lock, they get in there, and it's like we've all been there trying to get them to bark just so that door pops open. One bark, just give me one bark, and we'll. That stuff's super frustrating.
Right.
So yeah, there's got to be a decent balance. Of course, you got to understand the dog, but a police dog. There's these people that believe that dog out at the end of the leash, barking, is what a police dog should be. No, this isn't. The South in the whatever years when they were using those dogs to run people off, you know what I mean?
Florida in the 90s.
Yeah. Or Mississippi or whatever, where that's the look. And those dogs, you see those dogs on a lot of videos where they bite, let go, bite, let go, bite, let go. And that's not good. That doesn't help. And listen, it's just, that's not a police dog. That is not a police dog out there. I know you guys have this idea of what you think it is, but don't start a dog when you're trying to teach him good biting mechanics. Don't start him in defense. You're never going to succeed. You're never going to have that that dog, but you will have a dog who's everyone has to suck up into the wall when they walk by because they're reactive and they flip out and snap off. I got news for you guys. A lot of that is you think, oh, my dog's a aggressive asshole. No, nope. He might be an asshole, but that's mostly fear based. And they take those little, bark at everybody when they come out of the car, barking at everybody, and you can't even do fucking detection work with those dogs. But you can help it. Like if you built that, you can help it. And so like in 2 sessions so far with this girl and her dog, I've seen vast improvements where the dog is punching and having a good time. We're working the out into the down just to get the dog to be quiet. Out, down, then that gets the reward. The dog is now thinking, and she's having fun. Now I will start, in a couple more sessions, I will start like, covering her eyes and letting her punch that away, kind of building up over top of her. It's going to be a while before I can get her. I just touched her foot today and damn near took a hand bite. Came off of it and went for it. But I build some of that pressure through prey. You know what I mean? We build that having fun. But the funny thing is the other lady whose dog I'm working, not the Reaper dog, but a different one. I don't really want to say her name just because she's got this dog for a reason. Protection dogs, personal protection dogs, if their job is to keep people away or at bay, you definitely need some defense on that dog. You know what I mean? And because she's trying to keep just people leave her alone. You know what I mean?
The best example I can think of dogs that are, for the most part, like that bite human beings that work pretty much exclusively in defense and work well that way are those big, what are those things called? That Ovcharka? They're,
the what?
Yeah, it's the Caucasian Ovcharka thing. That's huge, like Russian Shepherd things. They look like fucking bears, and they're like guardian livestock things, or livestock guardians, but they're huge, and they are defensive as shit. 1,000% they are. Actually, there's a woman that used to breed them about an hour from here, and we had several roll through here many years ago, and they are 140 pounds, and they'll bite the shit out of you. But the minute that you're not scary, ain't about it. Like really? They're not going to chase you. Like if you're in the yard and they come up on you and you start running, they're not going to chase you. They ain't about that life. And because they're big, fucking slow, furry things. They are huge though. Russian Ovcharkas or Caucasian Ovcharkas or whatever the hell they're called. Yeah, they look like it's fucking polar bear.
Right.
And
but like this dog here, she's a shepherd. She's got a lot of defense in her. So in the instance that this girl would have to use this dog, the dog's got to do her job while she gets away. And if the dog's just going to go bite, let go, that doesn't fucking help anybody, right? And so I did a little scenario with her today, and did it in kind of like coming in defense, and then immediately channeled and took off, moved away into prey, and she did great. Stayed on the bite. The girl left the room, and me and that dog fought for 2-3 good minutes, enough time that she could get away. But if all I did was just keep coming at that dog, boom, boom, I don't know if she would stay with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by our good friends, the Perkinsons, down at Highland Canine Training. Highland, HIGHLAND Canine Training. They're a really cool place, guys. They have a school for dog trainers, pet dogs and working dogs. That is an amazing spot, man. You can go there, and it's no joke. Like, you're not going to be there for 3 weeks and come back with some stupid certificate. This is like a 6-month school for dog trainers. You learn every aspect of it, including the business side of dog training, which can be tough, especially for us former cops or current cops or military guys that don't really know all that stuff. They've been doing it forever. They offer online courses. They sell police dogs. They have canine handler schools. They offer in-person supervisor courses. Check them out, guys. HighlandCanine.com is the website to go check it out. Everything's on that front page there. It's a very nice website. Check them out, HighlandCanine.com. For the supervisor schools, I think there's a 30% off with the discount code WDR30, HighlandCanine.com.
You know, when we interviewed Bradshaw for the third time, I think, when we were at Hold the Line last year, we talked a little bit about this. We talked about capping because at the time, social media was all about, everybody was talking about capping, and now everybody's talking about fence barking and I don't know, whatever. And then there was a point where we went through a time where everybody was talking about dogs that are imprinted on Kongs, and
that was about a week of some good stuff.
Oh man, I had a handler school going on, and then I texted Bill Gaskins, and I was like, did I fucking miss something here? He's like, no, you didn't. I'm like, okay, good. So anyway, you know, Bradshaw made a good point that he said something out loud that I kind of assumed everybody knew, but he did say, you know, dogs, they have to experience expressing the drive, right? So before we can cap something, we have to have something to cap. So we've been talking about these dogs that have this insane prey drive. Dogs also need to experience expressing defense. And typically with prey, like we all know what causes that, right? Like something moves, they bite it, right? Like how many stories have you heard about police dogs tagging people because they move too fast or whatever? It's like, oh, and then all of a sudden,
a lot of SWAT guys with holes in their
yeah, exactly.
From that.
Because, and that's, you know, I mean, at its core, like when we train police dogs, like that's how we test dogs. They need prey, whether they're single purpose or dual purpose, they have to have prey to work. So every trainer and handler and decoy and whatever is very comfortable with that, because it's kind of the same for police dogs, obviously for other types of animals expressing prey, whether it's, you know, pit bulls with, you know, other animals, or like sight hounds with rabbits and whatever. That's why, I mean, we don't use them for detection work for various reasons, mainly nerves, but I can't imagine a greyhound, even though they will chase a tennis ball. Would Mac ever chase a tennis ball?
A little bit, but they just run 100 yards and then they're done. They sleep for a whole day after that.
Yeah.
The other problems with those dogs is they never lift their leg to pee, and they always piss on their front legs. All of them. It's the worst.
So I think most trainers are very comfortable because our prey thresholds are pretty similar across, you know, most of the pointy ear breeds, Malleys, Dutchies, German Shepherds. Like our prey thresholds are pretty straightforward. On top of that, everybody has worked a puppy, and we all know how we work puppies. We use puppy rags, we use puppy stuff. Like, you know, they learn to bite by everybody's seen the videos of Malinois and little German Shepherds hanging off of somebody's pants.
Yeah.
So everybody understands that. Defense is one of those deals that I think it's kind of lost in the sauce, either from not being able to identify what we're looking at, or two, not understanding what the threshold is. I've got multiple dogs that are out working that are not scared of people. They're not really barkers because they don't want to scare you away. So like during Spooky Man, they'll fucking counter stalk you, and they'll move. I've had a dog jump up onto a pallet and move forward so that he could have a better view of where we were at, but he did not want to bark because he didn't want to scare us away. So that was a whole other thing that we had to fix, because I do need them to bark and express that. But the experience of working in defense, the dog has got to be able to go into defense and then back to prey very quickly. For me, prey is really predictable because we know how to do it. We know how to trigger it. We use it a lot. We use it every time the dog works, no matter what we're doing, whether it's tracking or whatever. Tracking, detection work, and typically apprehension work are all prey based or initiated. Bite work can then channel. Hopefully tracking and detection work don't channel into defense, but
yeah.
So I think defense kind of gets lost in the sauce. The other thing about defense, in my experience with really well-bred dogs or well-selected dogs that have been raised correctly, defense is super, super powerful. Much more powerful than it is with prey. Prey is kind of genetically hardwired, and so is defense. But when we start developing defense, it can be something as simple as the dog learning to turn off negative stimulus through negative reinforcement. We can use negative reinforcement as a decoy to mark defensive behaviors, and they can go back and forth very quickly, which is usually how I start doing it. And not everything is going to make a dog defensive. There are some dogs that learn to be defensive, like you were talking about, by squaring up on them, and then they come out to the end of the line and they do their barky bullshit, and they're like, oh, and then they run off. They're like, yeah, that's a dog. I'm like, yeah, I understand that. Like, I've seen 6-month-old Malinois do that, but they don't know what to do with that. Like if it doesn't work, then what? So that threshold has to be pushed down the line. Ideally, what I would like is a dog with a lot of prey that's capped, that has an environmental and social threshold that is so high that it's almost impossible to cross. Typically, dogs get all butt hurt in defense, and they don't want to out. That's why, like, you've been to HRDs where I'm like, whose dog has a perfect out? And the people are saying, I was like, yeah, watch this. And you just put some fucking heat on that dog and he goes into murder mode and then he doesn't out. Right. And it's like, okay, now what? Now we got to let the dog calm down. Decoy lays off pressure. We go back into marking behaviors and prey behaviors where there's no vocalization, there's no physical pressure, there's no spatial pressure, there's no environmental pressure, there's no any of the other things. The dog isn't able to channel. The decoy gets the thumbs up, dog name out, comes straight off. So asking the dog to channel back and forth and asking them to perform behaviors in defense is a lot different than asking them to perform behaviors in prey. And you start getting sloppy, dogs start getting sloppy. Then if the dog is in defense and the handler is now like out, out, out type shit, right now the dog's fighting with what he feels like is the decoy, or fighting with the decoy, and now he feels like he's fighting with his handler. So now we have fucking problems with that, and then it becomes a whole fucking problem. So it's one of those deals that I've trained some Malinois and mainly German Shepherds that do this, that once they get to the point of mental maturity, where they're able to handle some physical pressure, so they've got some mental and physical maturity where they can handle that pressure, and they start to learn like how to do it. It doesn't take much, 6-8 sessions over 3 weeks of very short defensive, and all of a sudden it turns into fucking game time. And then that's when it gets very serious with outing and biting and commitment. And because now we have the game of, I'm going to bite you and I want to, but I don't want to have to fight about it. And if you do have to fight about it, I will fight back. And the fighting back is usually the point where we start kind of developing and pushing that behavior down the line. I don't ever, like, as a handler now, like, for several years, we got a reputation for being able to rehab some dogs that were kind of funky. And I stopped doing that because it's a fucking pain in the ass. And while I learned a lot dealing with those dogs, I also learned that not everybody wants to take that as a patrol dog. And I don't like fighting with dogs as a handler. I don't want handlers to have to fight with fucking dogs as handlers. So, and a lot of that comes from bad defense work. Dogs learn that they can fuck with people if they punk them, and they learn that they can, if I apply pressure back, I get what I want. Then all of a sudden it's like the key to the kingdom. They're like, yo, the hairless monkeys are scared of me, so now I'm going to fucking punk everybody, until they meet the one person that doesn't, and they're like, well, I don't know what to do with my hands now. So like, what am I supposed to do?
So ideally, if you got a young dog, and it's a prey monster or whatever, mostly we'll just use a Malinois as an example, and you're working into that defense, what is one thing that you see that makes you channel out of it, like that you went too much? Or almost too much. This episode is brought to you by DOGTRA, DOGTRA official, DOGTRA.com. You guys have heard us talk about it. We've been with DOGTRA for a long time. We love them. They're amazing people. We love their product. There's so many different things that they do. The 1900S, the hands-free. They got all kinds of things, poppers, droppers, all kinds of different things with their e-collar. But I have been a proponent of their YS600 bark collars for a long time. Everybody knows I talk about it. When I had the kennel open, I would come in and show videos of all the dogs being quiet. The YS600, they have the YS300 for smaller dogs. But here's the thing, guys. They just came out with a bark collar called the Smart Bark Collar. Dude, this thing is amazing. It attaches to an app on your phone. You can control everything out of it, see in real time what's working, what isn't working with the dog. But here's the kicker. It catches whining. That's the big deal with that Smart Bark Collar. It catches the whining, because we all know your dogs learn to whine underneath the threshold of other bark collars, and it's super annoying. But with that Smart Bark Collar, it catches the whining. And in the app, while it's working, you can just reach up and hit the vibrate button. There's a little button on your thing that'll vibrate that if that seems to work a little bit better for your dog. Or you can actually administer your own stim as a little bit extra if need be. You can set minimums, maximums, sensitivity levels to pick up that whining. Check out dogtra.com. They have a discount code WDR10, 10% off a single item over $200. But check out that smart bar collar, guys. It is amazing. We've been messing with it at my facility, and my employees absolutely love it. Check them out, DOGTRA.com.
So eyes, like depending on what their eyes are doing, like where they're looking, and right back by their flanks, like the muscles that they use. Like if you're listening to this and you've worked some dogs that know how to bite, like push forward, and they do that surging shit where they open their mouth like a snake and try and force as much of you in as possible. Typically what I find is we've gotten a little too loose, like the grip, and not because they're tired, but the grip will start to get loose. Their eyes start to dart around, and back where they're pushing with their back feet, right in front of their hindquarters, where basically their knee, if they had a knee, like where it touches their rib cage, like right there in the soft spot, that almost universally that muscle back there will twitch. And I don't entirely understand why. But I saw it the other day on a dog that we were working, and he started to twitch, grip started getting loose, and bleed all pressure off. Dog re-engages and bites hard again. I was like, yep, that's too much. At that point, it was too much, or it was getting to that point where it was just way too much. So typically the reason we work and pray, and I was just saying it, right, is because it's a good baseline. They do all the things correctly when it's easy. And that's when we teach our decoy schools. That's what we tell, like, so there's two types of pressure. There's decoy pressure, or like, pressure from the human being. And then there's pressure from the environment. That can be sounds, floors, textures, whatever, lack of sight, lack of smell. Something is different than the norm.
Yeah.
And that alone can produce enough of a defensive pressure to get the dog to be like, what? That's why at HRDs, every dog that has a sticky out, they always out on top of a car. Because it's a new texture, it's a new surface, and handlers are always like, no shit. I'm like, it's not because he's scared. It's just the hamster wheel slowed down enough that it's like, I'm up here. I've never been up here. I don't know why I'm up here. I don't know why I'm supposed to be up here. There's a whole
You ain't up there with him.
And you're not up there with him. There's a whole thing that's going on. And I've seen dogs that are very experienced, like experienced patrol dogs, 4 or 5 years, multiple street engagements, good breeding, good training, will get shitty with decoys if they don't mark correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And they get fucking mad about it. And then they get mad and they're like, if you don't want to mark correctly, I'll bite the fuck out of I will bite you hard with a purpose. And then they get the reaction they want. And inadvertently, the decoys are then marking defense also. But new decoys don't see it. I can see it. I'm like, yo, he's getting mad. You need to make sure that you're overtly marking these behaviors and you're being very clear. You're being very concise. We're not doing, because you'll get some dogs. Anthony's dog, Pablo, is a perfect example. He is a dog that if you do not mark him correctly, and depending on where the environment is, he will either take advantage of you and not in a good way, or he will get super upset and start to drive even harder, which then makes the decoy because that dog already is gnarly. And then it gets even more serious. And then pressure starts ratcheting up on the dog side. The decoy then stops what they're doing. So now we've marked the behavior, and the dog just gets more intense and more intense and more intense. And then we get vocalization from the decoy that's not really fake. And then it gets worse and worse, right? So it's just one of those dogs that he's learned, and he's very comfortable working in defense. He's very sure of himself. He's very confident, and I could take some of that credit because I may have done a little too much of some of that. And, Anthony's a fucking gangster ass handler, and he's done a lot with that dog to maintain that and keep that kind of under control. But he's one of those dogs. He's like Vlad. He's just not fun to work. It was like Vlad.
Yeah. Sometimes you get a dog like that too, and you're like, we're not going to do any bite work with this guy for a while.
He doesn't need to. I know he bites. He's got 47 fucking street bites. I know he bites.
Wow.
Put him in a muzzle.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, like today we did that scenario and she's out of the room, and me and this dog are fighting, and I called her back in. When she came and hooked up, that dog was not out. And she had to go up on the collar, and I heard her laugh, and I'm like, that's because of that,
That's how
so
you know.
it was appropriate at that time, you know what I mean?
Right.
But prior to that, and again, hers is a protection dog. I think there's probably a little bit a black shepherd. Oh, boom, boom, boom will keep a lot of people at bay. So yeah, just, I don't know, if you're A lot of times these guys are decoys and they work for vendors that are a little bit older. Maybe they think that's what it is. I just think you're not doing. You're not going to get the best out of the dog. They probably end up washing dogs that they might not have needed to if they would have just worked it a little bit differently. I really want the dog to enjoy it and be where they're at. Enjoy being where they're at, and you can tell when they don't. And like that dog, the protection dog. If I go to the ground on my bicep and I go to the ground, she's pretty cool. I wrap some feet around her, like in guard, or start putting a pressure on there, and you can feel it just start to diminish. So I open up, I stop, right? I stop doing that, and then slowly build up. I'm not just going to throw her in the deep end. And that's what I think what happens if you start in too much defense from the very beginning. You're just throwing the dog into the pool and saying, good luck. See you in a little bit.
That's not and I think a lot of that comes from, I think guys want to say the dog is uber defensive, or like, because it sounds, I don't know. I mean, I've worked and sold and have currently owned some dogs that are, I think they view human beings as food. I've watched one of my dogs that I'm watching him right now until the next handler school. Experienced patrol dog, 20-something bites on the street, lots of dope, whatever else. Super confident, 100-pound Malinois. He'll be out in the yard, the exercise yard, and we'll have people walk by on the street, or we'll have like my cleaners there, like cleaning, and he's out in the yard. They're not out there with him, but he'll 100% watch them. And he'll watch people on the street. He'll run up to the fence. He doesn't do the defensive barking thing, but he'll stand there and watch, and they'll look at him, and he won't move. As soon as they turn away and start walking again, he starts moving towards them. They turn and look, he stops. It's it's fucking creepy to watch, man. Like, and
fucking lion, man.
It's exactly what it looks like. It looks like something. And during Spooky Dog, he was a dog that counter-stalked. Like, he didn't bark. Mm-hmm. And we went full ghillie suit, crazy shit with him. Mask, ghillie suit, fucking weird ass stuff in the dark, lit up with a black light, and he would down and stare at you. And we'd turn the light off and we'd move, and he'd sit there and wait. And once he figured out where you're at, he would stand up and calmly go over and then down and stare at you again. And it was the fucking weirdest thing until you got about 6 feet from him where he thought he could get you, and then he just exploded. Raw, fucking came unhinged, and he's one of the dogs too that won't bark at a bark fence, because he's like, he doesn't want to scare anything away. He's just super like, and I understand they're not all like that, but it is a creepy fucking thing to watch, because 100% I've watched him, and I filmed it and sent it to our cleaners, and I'm like, 100% this dog will try and eat you. And I've sent them the video, and they're like, I didn't see him doing it. I'm like, that's because he's
he's cool.
They're like, oh yeah, I mean, so and I didn't teach him to do that. I noticed it when we tested him, and I told my trainers at the time, I was like, this motherfucker this is the dog that is the hunter and he does dope work begrudgingly. Like, he doesn't enjoy it. I mean, he'll do it, but teaching him to track was one of the easiest things I've ever done. Once you figured out he got to bite, then it was on. He's like, okay, cool, and no big deal. But if I had dogs like that, I'd be a gazillionaire. It was super easy to dog, super easy to handle. Like, they just do their job. They don't fuck with you. Great.
All right. I think that's going to wrap it up. That's pretty good. It's a good little thing on there. If you have any questions, reach out to Ted or I, Ted_Summers. Van Ness Canine is where I'm at. Ted, do you want to talk about the Oil Capital Canine Fund real quick?
Yeah, we are putting on, we're going to be putting on some seminars this summer, this summer and this fall. Got some more donations, giving away 8 heat arms already. We're giving away another 10 here pretty soon. And we're going to start paying for installs on those too. But yeah, Oil Capital Canine Fund, capital like money, because it's Oklahoma, and that's it's what this is. It's the Oil Capital. So we got corporate sponsors, SRG, Shielding Resources Group. They're great people. They've been helping a lot. So yeah, we're rocking and rolling. Going to be donating some dogs soon, fully trained dogs. We've been doing handler schools. Oklahoma is one of those states where it's a mandatory class prior to testing for certification. So smaller departments we're funding them to come through handler schools through CLEAT accreditation. There are CLEAT accredited programs, and then we kick them to the certifiers, and they get certified, and they go on about their lives. But yeah, oilcapitalcaninefund.org, because it's an official 501. I have the paperwork where it's real. I have an accountant, an attorney, the whole thing. Yeah, and then Torchlight, cool. Obviously. Yeah. Somebody that's been with us since the beginning is Arnaud at ALM, based out in Vegas. Arnaud makes fantastic bite suits. I've been a senior level PSA decoy for a long time. All of my trial suits are ALMs. I love them. I've sent my one jacket back multiple times to have new sleeves put on it because it fits so well. Arnaud works with you through the process, helps you get a design set up. In fact, when I went out to see see him in Vegas, he had my original design still in my original pattern still in the workshop there, and he was able to make me another jacket just out of the one that I have that's like 10 years old. He made me another one. Super high quality materials, super high quality stitching. Great service after the fact if you have to have repair work done. Hit him up, ALM Canine Equipment. That's the letter K number 9.com. ALM Canine Equipment. Use the discount code WD Radio for 10% off. Another person that has been with us since the beginning is the person that wrote the music for the intro and the outro on this. His name's Brother Dege. He's no longer with us. He's a super talented musician, and I actually met him at a live show here in Tulsa. Super nice guy. He was super supportive of what we do here and what police dogs do in general. And he was gracious enough to allow us to use the music for that. Yeah, wherever you're at, you can look at him on iTunes and on Spotify. Just Brother Dege, spelled Dege, and it's brotherdege.net.
So I think on the next, we also have the Horizon Structures giveaway. We're going to be giving away a kennel.
And yes, and other stuff too from Ray Allen and DOGTRA.
Worthless Handler, DOGTRA, Ray Allen, all of our sponsors, man. You listen, I know you guys, you probably all can you always have our commercials memorized. Like you could probably mouth it along with when I'm talking or Ted's talking in the commercials. But we could have sold this podcast to a network and made a lot of money, and our sponsors would be like Dick Pills and whatever else, mental health counseling, which isn't terrible, but you know what I mean. We stuck it out with our sponsors because we believe in this industry and what they do. And they're all jumping on. They're all going to be giving stuff in there that's amazing. And like I said, Horizon Structure is going to be giving that kennel, a single dog kennel. Those things are like, if you got kicked out of the house by your old lady, you could easily live in there without a problem. So some of you keep that one in mind there. But I think we got this episode. Our next recording is going to be, we'll have a guest. We have him already lined up. And then maybe we're going to do another training one. I have a topic that I want to work on that I just added it to the PowerPoint of my seminar. So it's not even in my book. So if I come out with a rewrite, a new edition of the book, eventually I'm going to have it in there. It might come out. I'm going to do the audio book first, and maybe I'll put it in there if I can. Supposedly you're not allowed to go off the script, so I may have to wait. But it's using tone as a precursor to movement, and I'll talk about, for those of you pet dog trainers with the reactive dogs, what that means and how that's working, and then police dogs and how that's working on the dogs that might come back up the line, turn on the handlers, or take that cheap shot bite at the end of bite work when you're trying to, quote unquote, drag them out. But I'm still playing with it, but it's been amazing. Like, it's been really cool. I might try to get a video of it when next time Akron's down here, because I have a dog that does it amazingly. So, yeah. Just stick around, guys, and we appreciate you always checking in on us and listening to the episodes, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, we'll see you guys then.